Kikawa. I'm the instructor of the Arcadia's class. And then today is that this is the 13 people doing for the arrangement. And then 12 is my student. So, and then today I have two my students and doing for the demonstration. So this lady name is Grace Chen. And then she has the arrangement here and there. So after that, please take a look because each people has the very unique and then like this tall base, one is the Grace the backyard. She just cut out. So and then some student is kind of maybe under the 3 years taking a lesson, but most of the student is over 10 years, longer time student. So Friday, some student with me and going to the flower market, and I really enjoyed because long time I didn't do the class, so I'm not going to the flower market either. But we wake up and see that the 6 o'clock a.m. my home, and then I drove to the downtown, and that was really fun time. And then coming back, and then other student coming to 9 o'clock, so they doing their own work. But most of the students, they can do now. So that is, I'm really proud of my student. So my goal is, I'm teaching, but the student is just going to backyard or whatever, the Trader Joe's flowers, fine. You just go to get the material, and then something you can do yourself and happy yourself. That is my goal in teaching a class. Anyway, we're starting to. So first of all, this one is called the inclining form. So form means Japanese is kata, so which is each different form. So Grace has the showing for the kenzan. So this is a kenzan and a needle point. So when you come the first class, and if you don't have the experience for Ikebana, you have to be by this 3 by 4 inches kenzan. You need that. Otherwise, your materials never stand up. So, but like, mine is really old. So if you purchase that, it's a long time. So she put in down for the center of the container. So then ready. So I chose her today is that forsythia leaf, and then orange tiger lily. So now this is the beginner's level, but only 2 important stems. First of all, the subject. So now she looking for the subject branches. So this left one is more flower, and the stem is a little bit more stronger feeling. So whatever you like that the branches or flower or leaves, you just find out that will be your subject. So she chose this one. So then going to be counting. First of all, we have to be counting. That is a lesson. Like a freestyle, already you have the eye, so you can do whatever. But beginner, you have to learn to how to measurement, how to put in. So that kind of step by step we teaching. So she put in down is a 1.5, 1.5, a little bit longer. Yeah, put in a depth. So then she will be cut. And then she does for the, our style doing for the audience is the front. So which means is the, arranger going to be backwards. So that is a little bit technique to be doing that. And then she put in that is the going to 60 down, so really lower because inclining means really lower. And also she has to be spaced that is the 270 degrees. So which means is a lot of space. But she chose for this branch is going to this way is looks good. That she decided. And after that, she have to have the object flower. So of course, mostly nice one. So then that one is really open up and it looks good, wherever the flower, right? So she chose that one, and then that's going to be her object. And then object is 1/3 from your subject. So she just kind of counting how length she can cut. So then flower is going to 45 down. So that degree is, you just can't see that the Kenzan. Because first term is only 5 stem. So then you can enjoy for the airspace and the balance, right? So that means, how can you nicely hide for the we don't want to see, which is Kenzan is kind of pointing out, right? So she has to put in it down. And then after that, we call all filler. So she put in 2 more forsythia branches and then 1 lily. Nice. Yeah, very nice. Let's just put in that area. I think it's So now, you can take a look for the, she has put in a towel by her. So that is the, we teaching the, please continue to do, teaching the technique, of course, but I think the Ikebana is kind of more spirit too. So I'm teaching some manner too, because she has on towel, and then she not made a big sound. So because used to be we have 10 people, the student coming in class, so very quiet, soothing time, right? So that kind of I'm teaching a little bit, and also I'm teaching for the history for that Ikebana. Ikebana class that's just starting to the 600 years ago. And then this is Ohara School, and Ohara School is about 125 years or 130 years, pretty long. And then the name is the school is just the name, but Los Angeles is our Ohara School, and the Soget School, and the Ikenobo School. That 3 is a lot of students. But in Japan is I think more than 300 different schools. So we just call it Ikebana, but a lot of different schools. So our school is that more kind of nature. So you can see that over there is a landscaping, which is like outside view, cutting off, putting inside. That is a concept. So now she's looking for the last stem, and then take off the flower stem. So because little too many flowers, because we don't want too much. So this is the first student is really hard. They don't want to cut. If I cut, and oh! So I said, got to cut it. So she's choosing for the close one for this flower. So then this is the lower arrangement. So she cutting really low, so not too high, because the front one is the major flower object. So not pushing out for any name that has name like a subject branches or object branches. So you have to maybe a little bit more back. Because too close.
Yeah.
So maybe a little more. Yeah, once you cutting that, you do that, and then you cutting more from here.
Yeah.
So they're two
because I would
separate.
cut them two
Yeah.
separate. Yeah.
Okay, so then now she has the 3 forsythia and then 2 tiger lily. So today is the first demonstration her life, and I think she's very calm and doing so well.
I am so happy to see all of you here today. Thank you so much for coming. I know that many of you are Ikebana students, but I've invited a few friends of mine who are not necessarily Ikebana students, but they admire beautiful flowers, and so they're here, and one of whom made me this passage. Thank you so much, Teresa. So anyway, we are here in this space. It is a museum classroom. 我知道有很多我们的朋友是讲中文的，是吧？你们听得懂广东话吗？还是要讲国语？講廣東話都可以。我哋呢個係博物館，係咪？我哋呢個博物館嘅教室。咁其實博物館咧，我哋做乜咧？我哋係欣賞藝術 ，right? It's art pieces. So what we are seeing here is an exhibition of art pieces, correct? So all of us who put this together, we could be called Ikebana artists. 花道的藝術家。咁我哋今日嚟咧就欣賞我哋唔同嘅藝術家嘅構思美麗嘅花朵。Not all of you know it like my friends。唔係好清楚，其實我哋日本花道究竟係乜嘢嘅東西，所以咧 ，allow me those of you who already been in the school for a while, just come with me for a moment. But for others who might not have been introduced to this idea, I just want to take a few minutes to introduce, so we have a background and to know a little bit about what this is all about, right? Okay, so Ikebana. Okay. Ikebana in Japan, it is in Japanese is kato. Mandarin, hua da, and Cantonese, even closer to Japanese, fa do. So fa do 咧係way of life, an art form, a discipline, and a journey. 所以係一個旅程，係一個藝術，係一個修練嘅一種嘅修行。咁所以咧，我哋好多跟我哋老師都10幾年啦。So many of us been with our sensei for more than 10 years. So it is a journey. Our school is Ohara, 小元楼, 小元楼. As Sensei introduced earlier, there are hundreds of schools in Japan doing Ikebana, doing Fado. But ours is one of the more traditional, older in history. So what I want to introduce today, what I want to share with you is when you go to a museum, when I go to a museum, I spend a lot of time reading the description, right? So 我去博物館咧睇好多人哋嘅介紹。Why? Because I want to know, what am I looking at? Why are these artists doing what they're doing? 所以我哋睇嘅就話就睇我究竟喺度睇緊乜嘢咧？咁嗰啲藝術家喺度其實想表達啲乜嘢咧？ That's the reason why we have a demonstration. So I'm going to share with you a particular style from our Ohara school that is called Moribana. 所以我咧今日咧想分享嘅咧係其中嘅一個嘅花式，就係叫做城花 Moribana 城花，城豐盛嘅城 right? So it's one of our signature style from our headmaster, Master Ohara, Unshin Ohara. Right now we're in the 5th generation. So today our headmaster is a 5th generation of headmaster. 所以你可以諗到 with 100 years of history， 我哋係200幾年嘅歷史，第5代嘅總監，第1代嘅總監咧就係咧發明咗呢個城花。So the reason is because at that time, historically, if you look around, we see a lot of tall vases. 你睇下好多好高身嘅花樽，其實咧歷史嚟講咧，第1代嘅我哋呢種花道咧係高花樽嘅。But then when Japan imported more Western influence in terms of architecture, in terms of furniture, now we have coffee table. They are much lower, right? 所以咧我哋嘅總監咧幾百年前你已經開始咧就揾到呢一個嘅平嘅花名。就唔係高嘅花名 ，this is a flat vase。所以如果你係睇個 coffee table 咧個機仔嘅時候，你一望咧，你會望到你可以欣賞啲花咧係有唔同嘅角度嘅。So that's sort of a little bit background about Moribana and its development. Furthermore, in terms of just a flat vase, after World War II, many Western influence and many Western types of flowers imported into Japan. So 第二次世界大戰嘅時候咧，之後咧日本咧開始運啲西方嘅花入嚟啦，例如乜嘢咧 ？tulips 鬱金香啦 ，roses 玫瑰啦，咁所以咧我哋而家咧今日嘅花朵咧係有呢啲咁樣嘅花朵咁所以咧盛花咧。就係我哋 Moribana 有好多其他嘅花道學校 ，many of other Ikebana school actually incorporate Moribana into their curriculum, but it's actually originated from our O'Hara school 小園流學校嘅其實係創辦者嚟㗎。咁好啦，咁我今日所介紹嘅咩咧？So what I want to share with you is Moribana, and Moribana has two main broad categories, right? Color scheme Moribana and landscaping. Reason why I'm pointing that out is what I want to share with you is a style within color scheme slanting. Slanting 係傾斜 ，right？ 傾斜即係咁樣啦，斜咗啦。頭先我個好同學好朋友咧，佢做咗呢一個咧，亦都係一個基本法嘅 basic inclining. This is a tick off of the inclining to a slanting with more material in it. So, that's a color scheme Moribana, right? Landscaping 就係盆栽。點解我要講盆栽咧？因為咧，我一陣間分享呢個咧係色彩色 ，right? Color scheme. I actually did a landscaping, which is the very first arrangement on your right hand side. That's landscaping, 盆栽 right? Now, I want to share a couple of things about that particular arrangement with you. Those branches, I want you to know, they traveled about 2,000 miles to get here for your viewing pleasure and appreciation. I picked those up last week when I was in Louisiana visiting my niece. So in the plantation, plenty of live oak trees, and I went outside her house and all these dead pieces of wood on the ground. Many of them had moss. And I knew in Ikebana that is a highly prized material. 喺花度嚟講，我哋嘅欣賞嘅觀點咧係好唔同㗎。西方嘅花咧好大嘅一個花 ，in Western flower and many other types of flower arrangement, we're looking at the big blooms, the colorful flowers. But in Ikebana, we value everything in nature. 所以咧嗰啲嘅木頭咧已經有生咗啲毛出嚟。The moss on that branch, the Spanish moss on top, and the green moss that's actually grown on the branch itself, it's taken a lot of time to get there, as well as the right environment. In California, we won't see moss branches because it's too dry, too hot. There in Louisiana, because it's a swampy, it's very humid, so the moss started to grow. It takes time. What does that mean? I put that as an analogy. Many people believe us women, when we're young, beautiful, right? 所有嘅男人喺街度吹口哨 ，oh young and beautiful， 你好年輕好貌美。所以睇花一樣，我哋睇得好大 ，big blooms, beautiful, colorful. Yet, just like those branches who've been aged through the environment, through time to get that moss, Japanese will say, this is beautiful, it's wisdom. Just like women, right? We think we're old and frail and ugly, but no, not quite. We are wise, we have been through the storm, and we're beautiful in our own right. Similar to those branches that you're looking at in that first landscaping arrangement. So that's very important. That's why I want to point that out. So that's the landscaping that we're looking at in that one. So right now I'm going to share with you the color scheme Moribana slanting style. So the first thing that we do, we have the kinsan, as Sensei pointed out earlier. Okay, 呢個係我哋嘅劍山，中文譯成正山 kinsan. So I place it again because our school is very focused on the depth that we create, so vertically. Okay. So I have two different types of material to work with. Thank you so much, Sensei, for bringing us the material. Foxtail for my subject group, and the roses. All right. So if I could point your attention to, this is the diagram of a kensan. So the structure is a subject, a secondary, and an object. But if you look at and connect the lines together, you will see a triangle. If you walk around this room, you will see many of our arrangement illustrating some kind of geometrical shape. 我哋嘅三角形咧係一個好漂亮嘅形狀，所以咧我哋嘅總監啊、老師啊 好耐以前都已經明白三角形咧係好重要嘅一個形狀。If we look at the pyramid, that's a triangle. I remember when I went to Chichen Itza and in Cancun, beautiful Mayan pyramid, 三角形嘅 triangle. Not only is it beautiful aesthetically, but it's practical in terms of just aerodynamics, but that's another story. But anyway, so coming back here, we're doing a triangle with the subject first. So always, when we pick up the material, we look at each branch because we appreciate every one of them. Not just the big bloom, not just the colorful ones, but everything that we have on the table. So I'm looking at the 5 branches of foxtail. Now foxtail, I'm sure you've seen these around. On the road, in the street, even in your backyard, in the parking lot. How many of us have walked by these branches and not even pay attention to them? Probably, I myself have done that as well. 所以我哋咧，其實睇下我哋周圍咧有好多好靚嘅花草樹木。Foxtail 係一個其實周圍都有嘅花材嚟嘅。咁好啦，我有咧5個 ，so I start with 5 foxtails. So of all 5, I'm seeing they're all beautiful, yes, but I'm seeing this one. I really like the lines. Right? And it's a little thicker. So I will choose this as my subject. 我個主位，呢個係主人，跟住我會有個客人，跟住我會有個幫手。呢3個樣嘢咧就造成一個三角形啦。OK？ 咁所以咧嗱，我哋知道啦，佢個位置喺邊度。We kind of know the position from this diagram, right? So the subject is to your left, front, left to the back, and to the right is the object. So we know the position. But gee, you know, how long should it be in terms of the balance with the container? So for Moribana, is 1 diameter plus 1 depth, 1 height of your container. So my container is about this high. So 1 diameter plus 1 depth. So it's about here. So that's where I will cut my subject branch. Okay. So subject, front corner to the left. Okay, but this is 90 degrees. This branch right now is standing straight up. And this is 90 degrees, right? So I'm gonna put it down, 70 degrees down, and 45 degrees open to the side. So that's where my subject should be. That's the position of the subject. So in Japanese Ikebana, we have certain structural policy rules or norms that we just have to remember. So 70 degrees, right? And 45 open. Then the secondary is the second branch that we're going to place to the second angle of the triangle. And the secondary is half the length, is a little chunkier, of the subject. So I'm going to measure based on the subject about half of this. Okay? And then that goes to the back and open to the back of the triangle. So there's my secondary. Okay, so there's first angle, second angle. Now my object. So my object, I will go to my object group and look at all the roses. Wow, teacher gave me very generously many roses to choose from. So now decision time. So how do you choose the object? I usually like to choose it somewhere between the fullest one and the skinniest one, somewhere in between. Okay, so I'm looking at all of them. And the second thing that I want to point out is in Japanese arrangement, not only are we looking at the flower, more importantly, we're looking at the leaves. The leaves are a very important part of the plant. So 我哋唔係淨係睇花，我哋一定要睇埋樹葉。Okay？ 咁呢一個客人咧，就係呢個主人嘅一半。Same thing like the secondary is half of the subject. Okay? So because the height of this, because of the way because it's such beautiful long stem rose, so I'm going to put back the leaves, and then I will put it to the front. This is the object again, right? Remember earlier I said this is like 90 degrees. So this one comes down. This is 70, right? So it's all the way down. The object is 50. 呢個係70度，呢個係70度落嚟，打開45度。呢個係50度落嚟，打開30度。It's open 30 degrees. So this is open 45, so it's a little wider. This is open 30. This is 70 degrees. This is 50. Okay, so now I have got my triangle going on. So let's complete our subject group. So the next item that I'm going to place in is called the tall filler. And usually the tall filler is one of your focal points of your arrangement. So I'm going to select something with a nice line, kind of tall and skinny. All right. So this one. So tall filler is not as tall as the subject. It's 2/3 of the length of the subject. OK， 所以呢個係長嘅幫手，高長嘅幫手係高高溜溜嘅，但係佢咧就係冇我哋嘅主人咁高，係我哋嘅主人嘅2/3嘅高度。OK， so this is my tall filler. Also notice the other thing that we're gonna look at is how they respond to each other, how they correspond, how they interact. Are they communicating? Are they talking to each other? Okay, so there's my tall filler. And then the next item that I'm gonna place in is my front feeder, which the same thing. The front is 1/2 to 2/3 of our subject. So obviously 係前邊，呢個係前面嘅幫手，呢個係高嘅幫手，呢個係前面嘅幫手，都係擺喺前邊啦。Okay, all right. Then the next item that we're going to place in is a short flower. So the short flower, I usually like to pick one that's really blooming because they're shorter. 所以咧，好似人咁樣咧。我哋嘅花咧高高瘦瘦，低嗰啲咧就矮矮肥肥，肥肥嘅意思就開得好茂盛 ，right？ 咁所以咧，我哋就揾一朵比較打得開啲嘅花。So we're gonna look for one that's kind of pretty much in full bloom. So this is very nice. So I'm gonna do the short flower. 呢個係短花，呢個短花咧係我哋嘅subject behind the subject. Okay? 我哋嘅客人嘅後邊就係我哋嘅短花啦。So again, is my flower facing up? It better be. It should be. So our flower is always facing up to the sky. Okay. And then the next item I'm going to place in is our tall flower. So this is the one tall and slender, short and chunky, right? So tall and slender. So I'm going to find one that's kind of a skinny flower, not quite blooming yet. Maybe this one, right here. So that tall flower, 高嘅花咧喺後邊係高高瘦瘦 ，right？ 前邊嘅矮啲、闊啲。咁我哋嘅高嘅花咧，就由我哋嘅劍山後邊出嚟嘅。It's from the back of our 劍山。所以咧，我哋有7樣嘢啦。We have our 7 items. Now the last item, the last branch that I have is sometimes Sensei will call this the anchor， 連接嘅工具嚟嘅。呢個係連接嘅配花或者係配植物，都係差唔多一半，half to 2/3 of the tall feeder. My anchor is between 呢個 anchor 咧係連接嘅 ，right？ 咁我連接咩咧？連接我嘅主人同埋我嘅幫手 secondary subject and secondary. This is the link. This is the tall feeder, the front feeder, okay, and the 3 flowers. Now, so if we look at this, we have 3 flowers here. 呢3朵花係三角形嘅。It's a small triangle with a 3 in the subject group, the object group. The subject group here, again, this is a bigger triangle, right? Subject, secondary, object. 所以我哋咧睇咗呢個大嘅三角形。So we have a large triangle, and then we have a smaller triangle within that large triangle. All right? So if I turn this arrangement to the side, you will see that everything occupies its own space. 每一支花、每一支葉有佢自己嘅位置，有佢自己嘅名字 ，right? So, then we keep picking back, and this is what Sensei will always do when she comes around to check our work, and that is, she will say, "Is everything everything within your triangle. So this is what we're going to check to make sure, do I have things like hanging out, or is it all within this triangle that we have started with, right? So this is one line, this is another line right here. So you want to make sure everything falls within this triangle. So this is our Moribana color scheme, slanting style. So once you understand the sort of the story behind each arrangement, hopefully you will enjoy that journey with us together. 希望你明白到我哋嘅花裏邊嘅故事，你會更加欣賞，更加會墮入陶醉我哋呢個花嘅路程。Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Wendy. Very great demonstration, I think, right?
Yes.
And she gave you a so detail for the Moribana. So I think you're a free lesson today. Oh my gosh, that's great. Thank you very much. So now you can see that we don't have any person did for the Moribana this time, but you can see the one Moribana and then like a freestyle combination form. So each one is different. So which one I don't know you like the arrangement, but just to take a moment, each one is really different. But the name tag said each different person. So each person, the student, thinking about it, what should I do? So then they chose their opinion. So then I help a little bit, but each different people's thinking 17 arrangement this room. So please take a look and tell me about which one your favorite. So enjoy the rest of the time. Okay, thank you very much for the coming. I'm very happy to these 2 days, and that was very successful. So many people coming, and they enjoyed your flowers. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed too. Thank you.